Hey, you want to call base?
Crestwell traffic, Skyhawk, November 739er Echo, Foxtrot, base 33 Crestwell.
And call final.
Crestwell traffic, Skyhawk, 739er Echo, Foxtrot, final 33 Crestwell.
I'm making this video because I could not figure out, I spent several hours trying to figure out exactly how I was going to capture audio during a general aviation flight. And so after spending hours just looking for the right equipment, I finally zeroed in on this item. And then once I hooked it up, I was really surprised to find out that it worked really great. So hopefully this video will save you hours of trying to figure out how to do it yourself. So this is all the equipment that I used to record the audio during the flight. This is just a standard general aviation headset. It doesn't have noise canceling or anything. This is a POV camera that I use. It's just a Sony action camera. This is a bracket that I made. I literally took a piece of aluminum and just fabricated this. I just chopped this using some tin snips, and it took an hour or two to make. It basically uses the existing nut on the headset. I just pulled that nut off and then drilled a hole, bolted it on. So that's all that is. It's got a nut and bolt down there which basically keeps the two ends together, and then a final hole for that screw right there and that nut. This up here is just extra. I decided to leave this in case I wanted to do something with it to stabilize it, but I think it's going to be fine. I can actually cut this off really right here if I needed to. It has Gorilla Tape on the inside, basically to try to protect my Sony Action Cam when I slide it in. I have to slide it in from the back because of the door on the back. I have to slide it in nose first so it comes out that way. And this is a GoPro Hero 3, which worked really good. I had this placed inside the aircraft. It worked really well. It didn't vibrate like I thought it would much at all, so it did really good. Even though this is a really long extension, it's really sturdy. I tightened all these down really good before we took off. All the audio on this flight was taken completely with this Sony digital voice recorder. This was like 60 bucks from Walmart. In order to capture the audio, you need this adapter. So normally out of a general aviation headset, you've got two plugs coming out. These are slightly different size plugs. This adapter happens to plug into this wire right here. So instead of plugging this into the aircraft, you plug this in first, and then you plug this into the aircraft. And this is just simply the audio out cable, which plugs in with a regular 3.5mm jack right into the top of the Sony digital voice recorder. So this is a PA-80S is what this is known as. If you want to Google it, look it up. These things, I couldn't find one for any less than 50 bucks. I think this costs $50, and I tried to find a lower price, couldn't find a lower price anywhere. So I didn't use any of the audio from the GoPro Hero 3 because it was inside a case and it was really muffled. I didn't use any audio that was captured from this camera. All the audio that you hear with us keying up came directly from this line coming from my headset and then to this digital voice recorder. In order to take all three files, the GoPro Hero video file, the Sony Action Cam video file, and also the Sony digital voice recorder file, and make them all work together, basically you need a video editor. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, and this is what the files look like after I bring them in and I sync them so that they're all synced together. So basically up here, this is a Sony Action Cam, and this is its related audio that I just pulled right in. This is the GoPro Hero footage and its related audio. As you can see, the GoPro Hero cut the video into 4 separate chunks because it was such a long flight. The Sony Action Cam cut it into 2 chunks. So I just brought them in one at a time and placed them sequentially, one right after the other on each of these. Okay. This is the audio track that I pulled in from the digital voice recorder. And basically once I did that, I lined up the 2 video tracks first. And basically to do that, you kind of have to scrub back and forth and move either one of these or both of these back and forth until you have them synced together so that they're absolutely perfect. So frame to frame, they're absolutely synced perfectly. And then once I did that, I brought the audio track in, and then again I had to move the audio track back and forth and find the right spot until it was absolutely perfectly lined up and synced perfectly with all 3. So you have to do that manually. There's no easy way to do that. That in itself probably took, I don't know, probably 15 minutes to do all that. So once that was in there, and once everything was in here, it was time to chop everything up and cut everything up into the video. And then this file, this is the final file. I saved the first file just in case I needed to, in case I really messed this up. I saved the initial file because I spent so long syncing all the audio and the video perfectly. So once I synced all of it, I saved it again as a new file, and then I started just chopping and splicing and editing out as much as I could. It was a long video. It was like over an hour's worth of video. And so I basically had to try to chop it down, and I got it down to 25 minutes. So this is all done within Adobe Premiere Pro.
Hey, you want to call base?
Crestwell traffic, Skyhawk, November 739er Echo, Foxtrot, base 33 Crestwell.
Okay, this is showing you what happens, what's going on. I took a chunk of the final video and I stuck it in here just to show you what's going on here. The important thing to note is that here's the GoPro footage. Here's the GoPro's resulting audio track. You notice how I have it blanked out so that you cannot hear the GoPro audio. Same thing with the Sony Action Cam. Here's the video and here's its related audio down here. Notice I have it also muted out. The only audio track that is actually putting out output is from the digital voice recorder. So I could select all these lower audio tracks and just delete them and wipe them out, and the video would remain the same. Now on the other hand, if we back this up and we go ahead and let's pretend like we didn't have a digital voice recorder. Let's turn off the output so that we can't hear the digital voice recorder. Now let's turn on the the GoPro audio. This is what the GoPro audio sounds like. Alright, just a bunch of engine noise. It's completely worthless. Okay, what about the Sony Action Cam, which is the camera which is actually up here, located on my headset. When we play that, again, there's way too much. There's just nothing but a bunch of engine noise. So it's completely worthless. So that's why we leave those tracks off of there. Leave these muted and leave just the audio for the digital voice recorder.
Base 33 Crestwell.
So that's much better. So now you don't have any of this engine noise. You just have the audio track from the DVR.
And call final.
Crestwell traffic, Skyhawk, 739er Echo, Foxtrot, final 33 Crestwell.
Now you could dub in a little bit of the sound, like let's say from the Sony Action camera, and then you come back to the audio mixer, and this is audio track 3, so you can actually lower that down a little bit as it's playing. So now we have a little bit of engine noise, but the problem is you can't really hear what Dorothy's saying. So let's mute this down lower.
It's just about right.
So you can adjust these over here in Adobe Premiere Pro.
60s where I like it.
Adding engine noise.
Power pack when
Okay.
So I prefer just to keep these audio tracks muted and to leave this track giving output. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how I'm manipulating the audio tracks within Premiere Pro.